Hello everybody, what's up? It's your girl Jennifer Watson here, and today I am going to give you 11 steps to help you be authentic to who you are when you are around others who do not understand your spiritual journey. All right, I'm going to repeat that because that's kind of a mouthful. 11 steps for you to be authentic to your own spiritual journey when you're around others who may not understand the spiritual journey or who may not be as open to it as you are. I hope that made sense. All right. So number one is be a lighthouse. When you're around others who may put their nose up in the air or who may be walking through life blindly or just don't really understand all the juju, the spiritual, the woo-woo stuff, then be a lighthouse, because you never know when someone else may be able to pick up on your own energy, and you can actually help shine the way for them to spark their own spiritual journey. So no matter what, be that lighthouse, be that person who exhibits that loving energy, because you just never know who you may touch, okay? Excuse me. Number two is speak gently to yourself. You know, sometimes we might get around others where you're like, oh, I probably didn't do this. You know what? Just stop all that. Be gentle. Don't judge yourself. We are our own worst critic, and we will speak down to ourselves like no other, right? So make sure that you're using words that's not going to uplift yourself, but also the other people that are around you who may not be able to understand this whole journey that you're on. Number three, and this is interesting because everyone has a journey. Everyone has their own story to tell. So while you may be walking your own path, and the person that's next to you who may not quite understand where you are in your path, they have their own journey as well. And so this kind of circles back to the number one in being a lighthouse, because wherever that person is within their own journey, you can be that shining light to say, hey, you know what? I've been there. I completely understand. And that other person may begin to walk the path of love, light, and understanding, even though spirituality is not all love and light. I just have to say that real quick, but you could spark that path on to them being able to understand their own selves and their own story, and to be able to help others along the way. It's like a chain effect. You help one, the other helps one, etc., etc. What am I on? 3? I'm on number 4. Now, this is when you want to begin to release the mind and allow your heart to speak more. So what I mean by that is that we can be so busy in life where we're constantly thinking, and we are not allowing ourselves to be heart-led. And so, especially if you get around someone else who is the same way, you need to be cognizant enough and more self-aware that if that other person acts that way, then you need to shift that focus off of thinking, being mind dominated, to being heart led. And always when you lead with your heart, you have absolutely, things are so much easier. Okay, let me just say that. When you lead with your heart, things are so much easier, and you're able to actually allow the universe to bring more to you, because you are not trying to push against the grain by thinking, and allowing your heart, aka also where your intuition lives, to lead the way. Okay? And I forget what number we're on, probably 5. I probably should number my list, right? Number 5, opening up your heart actually is going to help you to grow the most, right? So when you begin to open up your heart, you begin to see the world in a totally different way. You begin to see people in a totally different way. You experience things in a totally different way, right? because you're not pushing against the grain. One of my favorite quotes, which is, I'm going to paraphrase it actually, by Abraham Hicks. If you haven't checked them out, then by all means do so. Tons of video on YouTube. But one of my favorite quotes is, when you're trying to paddle up against the current, it becomes tedious, it becomes tough, it's hard. You're like, oh, I gotta get up the stream, I gotta go. Your body's getting tired, you're getting fatigued. But when you begin to just allow the boat to flow downstream, trust me, it makes life a lot more satisfying and a lot more fun. I cannot tell you how much I enjoy being led by my intuition and allowing myself to manifest by just simply allowing and not fighting. All right, the next one is that, love is, if you haven't heard this before, love really is the ultimate energy. I'll tell you, I had an experience during meditation once where it was the first time, and it wasn't that long ago. I knew it, but I never really felt it until then, is that love is the ultimate energy. And I literally felt the connectedness between myself and someone across the world, because I literally felt how much we were alike. And that's a whole nother topic we can talk about. But if you begin to live your life in as much love as you can, I'm not saying going around hugging and kissing everybody, although I am a hugger. So if I meet a stranger or I'm talking to a client or something, whatever, I'm going to hug them. That is if they want me to. Because your hearts get to connect, you get to intertwine energy, and you get to experience that oneness and that connectedness. I think that's a word. I don't know. I make up words all the time. But you'll begin to understand life a lot more when you begin to live and fulfill within that energy. And the next one is that, during life, we get to these points where things can be down. We're human. We have egos. Although we are mind, body, and spirit, our mind and our spirit usually is going at cahoots. They're at cahoots with each other. And so in those times where you feel like things are getting tough, begin to comfort yourself. And especially if you have some kind of disagreement with someone else, or maybe you're just like, I don't know about this whole spiritual journey shit. Speak gently and be comforting to who you are and where you are, and don't judge yourself for where you are within the journey, okay? That is going to help lighten the process and help enlighten yourself within the process. And then a lot of times when we're going through and we're experiencing this variety of emotions, and we're not really quite sure where we're feeling them or why we're feeling them, it doesn't really matter as long as you allow yourself and give yourself permission to feel. A lot of times, especially when we begin to experience the lower vibrating emotions like, guilt, depression, fear, stress, all of that, it's okay to allow yourself to feel that way. It is okay. I always tell people that emotions are our compass. They give us a sense of direction in where we are headed in life. So if you know how you feel and you can pinpoint what that emotion is, then acknowledge it, accept it, understand why you're there, and then process it however else you need to, but do not stay there long. And now you are in full control of how you feel and where you are, and you're in full control on your ability to change that emotion. Because if we begin to suppress them and we do not feel them, that is when heart disease can take into effect, or any other kind of illness that can manifest within the body. So allow yourself to feel and then take control of it and move to the next emotion, which should be a higher one than where you were, right? We're always wanting to increase in vibration. And the ultimate emotion is love, bliss. Go figure. All right, next one is breathing when you are in pain. So this kind of just goes back to what I was saying as far as allowing yourself to feel the emotion. So if you are feeling one of those lower vibrating emotions like fear, stress, anger, any of those, go ahead, acknowledge that emotion and take the time to sit there and breathe through it. Breathe through it. Allow it to be in your body where it needs to be, but then also remember to take it out of your body when you no longer need it. Because again, we do need all of our emotions because they tell us where we are in life, but breathe through it. And then I tell clients a lot of times to go outside with your bare feet in the grass, stand there, breathe, and allow that emotion to go back into the universe. So feeling that stress, feeling that anger, feeling that betrayal, all of that to go and release back into the earth. And then at the same time, because everything is positively and negatively charged, allow the earth to bring in that better feeling emotion. And then if you are by any chance feeling uncomfortable, especially if you're around someone else, that's okay too. You are in control of your own body, your mind, and your spirit. So if at any time you feel uncomfortable around someone who may not be on the same journey as yourself, that's fine. That is fine. Now, what I will suggest is do not stay somewhere where you are uncomfortable 99% of the time. If you're uncomfortable, leave, all right? Do not participate and do not allow yourself to be subjected to negativity, because that is only going to bring yourself down even more, all right? And the last one is that you have got to learn how to be vulnerable. That means letting some guards down. That means letting some walls go. That means expressing yourself in ways that you might not have expressed before. And maybe to some people, that you may not have expressed that heightened, emotional awareness to. You have to learn to do that. And the reason why that's so important is because, again, it helps to increase your emotional intelligence. It helps to release that from your spirit, right? You no longer have to hold on to it. And it also helps, again, to heighten your awareness and heighten where you are at the time. So it gives you a totally different perspective on where you are, where you need to go. If you release it, understand where you are. Maybe you should understand where you are before you release it. Excuse me. Ask yourself questions while you're there. Be as authentic and as much as yourself as you can be, and be a lighthouse, because that's what we're all here to do. We're all here to be a lighthouse, to shine, our light bright, and especially to others who may need to see a light to find their way out of darkness. So, all right. Thank you all. Be sure that you join my email list. On my email list, I have all sorts of goodies that are going to be going out, including additional educational information, Etsy codes, Etsy promo codes that I, my products online. So, and I'm only going to send them to my email list. So if you're not on there, you're not going to get it. I'm not going to post it anywhere else. So go ahead and make sure you click on that banner in the top of my page. And if you're on YouTube, click in the description box down below to go ahead and join. All right. I love each and every one of you all, and I totally appreciate your continued love and support. Bye-bye.